Welcome into the show. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and this Sunday we are talking about baseball, specifically both the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame. We'll take you behind the scenes of the Cardinals Hall of Fame and what it has to offer to fans. A walk through Cardinals history is coming up. Tommy Herr is headed to the Cardinals Hall of Fame this year with teammate John Tudor. We'll catch up with the longtime second baseman of the Redbirds. And finally, he's one of the greatest outfielders of his generation that finished his career with the Birds on the bat. That's Cooperstown bound Larry Walker. Let's bring in the newest member of Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame. It's been put off at least 1 year, but we hope to get to Cooperstown this upcoming summer. That's one of my all-time favorites. Former Cardinal and Larry Walker is with us. Hey, Larry, great to see you. How are things going?
Great, Danny. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How has life changed? It was about this time last year that you got the call to go to the Hall of Fame. You haven't had the ceremony yet. It is going to come. It's going to happen. But how has life changed since you got the call that you now are in Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame?
Well, I don't want to say a whole heck of a lot because not much has happened. I think we've all been locked in our homes for the last year. So, life has carried on as normal for me. And I guess until the ceremony, which apparently is going to happen this year, no matter what, whether it's live in Cooperstown or via what we're doing right now. So it's going to happen. So we'll see how things are in July, I guess.
Have you thought about the speech? I mean, is it on your mind like every single day about what you want to say and make sure that you do the right things with that speech?
You got no idea, buddy. I'm a mess with that. Part of me, I hate to say this, part of me hopes that it doesn't happen live in Cooperstown, where there might be 90,000 people there, because I have sleepless nights over it. I haven't even started writing anything yet. At least that's gone on for more than maybe 50 words. I keep starting over because I really just don't know. There's so much I want to say, and then so little I want to say, because I don't want to be up there too long and start rambling on and stumbling over my words. But like I say, it's the honor itself is probably bigger than my worries about how the speech goes. So I'm just going to try to thank the right people and keep my composure.
You had the chance to go, though, and walk through Cooperstown, kind of like the private tour, if you will. What were your emotions like in seeing those plaques and realizing that you're going to be a part of that?
Well, fortunately with the Cardinals, we had a fantasy camp, as you remember, in Cooperstown a couple of years before that. So I was able to get a tour basically through the similar places I went to as a Hall of Famer tour. So to compare the two was quite incredible for me. The one where I was just at fantasy camp, I walked through and I was in awe at everything. And then you walk down, you look at the plaques and you see everything. And this one was kind of similar, but a major difference in the fact that TV cameras were following me everywhere. And at the end of the yellow brick road was a place on the wall for me to sign where my plaque was going. So two similar tours with completely different endings to them.
It's incredible. What has this meant to the people in Canada, being a guy from Canada? You grew up wanting maybe to be a hockey player, and it takes you now to baseball's Hall of Fame. What does it mean for the people in Canada?
Well, like I say, I've been locked in, so I'm not sure exactly what all is going on up there, but from the reactions I can see online and from friends and family back north of the border, they're quite ecstatic about it. So, I guess that's the other part of it. Even though as nervous as I am about going to Cooperstown and doing the speech live, I put myself on the other side, how many people might be coming down from north of the border, which I hope is a lot, and waving their Canadian flags proudly. A big moment for me, but even a bigger moment for Canada to have their second person into the Hall of Fame.
It's incredible. And it's also incredible that you got the chance to finish your career in St. Louis. And as you reflect on that and that short amount of time, what comes to mind for Larry Walker when you think about wearing the Birds on the bat?
Well, talk about one of the greatest teams in baseball history. I think everybody can probably name 5 teams that really stand out and mean the most to them and their families growing up, and the World Series championships. And I know we've talked about it a lot. My first at bat in a St. Louis Cardinal uniform, where I struck out and got a standing ovation. For me, that spoke volumes about the fans of St. Louis. As a visitor going there for many years, as all visitors do going there, you leave each game going, wow, what an amazing crowd base that this place had. These guys are lucky to play here and wear that uniform. I got to experience that, and to have that uniform on was a big thrill, a huge thrill in my life. And unfortunately, I wish we could have won it all in '04, and I could have been part of the parade, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. But just like I say, what a historic and franchise it is, and it was an honor to put that uniform on.
Larry, I'll wrap it up with this. You had a long wait to get to the Hall of Fame. Kind of a two-parter here. Was it worth the wait? And secondly, what are you most proud of as you reflect on your career, which was now taking you to the Hall of Fame?
Well, I guess the one thing that stands out, if I wouldn't have waited 10 years, I wouldn't have been the 333rd person into the Hall of Fame. And everybody knows my 3 is my favorite number, so I tripled that by waiting 10 years. So that was huge. And it's, like I say, I guess it's the road and the people along the way that got me to the Hall of Fame. When I started playing, I didn't know the rules of baseball. I didn't know what a slider was or a forkball was. I had to go to winter ball, and I went to 5 instructional leagues to try to learn how to play the game. So it's a great story for kids that are maybe thinking they aren't good enough or haven't got the playing time in to maybe make it to the major leagues one day, or just professional ball for that matter. It's a grind, but it can be done. I grew up playing 15 games of baseball a summer till I was 16 years old. So baseball really wasn't in my genes until I was 16, and then I really took it on seriously. So it's something that can happen later in life to a lot of kids who aspire to maybe making it one day.
Hey, it's great to catch up with you, Larry. Congratulations again. Can't wait to see you in Cooperstown coming up, and I'm sure we'll see you at the ballpark very soon.
You bet. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
That's Larry Walker. Coming up, Cardinal Hall of Famer Tommy Herr. Scoops with Danny Mac is brought to you by Schnucks, Blue Fuse, Royal Banks of Missouri, and Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert. Welcome back to Scoops with Danny Mac on Fox 2. A reminder, there's daily content on the website, scoopswithdannymac.com. Podcasts, features, articles. If you've missed Bernie Miklasz and his writing, you can see it all daily on scoopswithdannymac.com. Welcome back to Scoops with Danny Mac on Fox 2. Coming up, I'll take you behind the scenes inside the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum. Now, let's chat with a future Cardinals Hall of Famer, and that is Tommy Herr. Tommy, great to see you. How are things going, and where do we find you?
Well, things are going well. I'm here at my home in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and that's been home base for since 1985. I built this house, so that was a good year for me on the field and a good year off too.
There's no doubt. It was an amazing year for you on the field, and now it takes you to the Cardinals Hall of Fame. So when you got the call that you're going to the Cardinals Hall of Fame, what was that like? What was going through your mind?
Well, first I didn't take the call. I kept Mr. DeWitt was trying to call me from Cincinnati, and I didn't recognize the number, so I just kept refusing the call. And then finally, Larry State got a hold of me and said, "Hey, stupid, answer the phone. Mr. DeWitt's trying to talk to you." So that was on a Sunday. It was exciting. I was actually at my parents' home when the call came, so it was neat to share it with them because, obviously, your parents are a huge part of your life, and they wanted to share in the excitement.
The beauty of that is thinking about your speech, and I know you can't wait to be telling everybody about your career and what this means to you. So have you thought about the speech?
No, I haven't thought at all about it. Typically at something like this, I'll just, I'll speak from my heart. I doubt if I'll even prepare anything. My time in St. Louis was so great, highlighted by 3 championship teams, and we came within a whisker of winning 3 World Series in a 6-year span, which those memories I'll cherish forever. Just the great teams that I played on there, the great friendships, the great players I played with and against. It all kind of was wrapped up in those years, and that's basically what I'll say. I don't, I'm not a man of many words, but I do, I do have a lot of gratitude and and love for the fans in St. Louis, and certainly I definitely want to thank them at the ceremony for voting me into the Hall of Fame.
I got to ask you, your brand of baseball and Whitey Ball, it was so entertaining for all of us. Do you envision baseball now getting back to that brand and that type of baseball that you guys played?
The basic formula for winning teams never changes. You got to pitch good. You got to play great defense. You got to be fundamental on defense, and offensively, you need you need to outscore the other team. It's pretty simple, and our way of outscoring teams. The ballparks that we played in back in the 80s in the National League were big ballparks. If you look at home run numbers across the board, not just our team, they don't even come close to home run numbers now, where you're all the stadiums now are like hitters' paradises, and they're small, they're just great places to hit, and they're made for more home runs. So across the board back in the 80s, the game was different. It was more of a speed game. Almost all the fields were artificial surface, and so I mean we played it better than anybody else during that era. We were able to use our speed both on offense and defense, and of course we had some very, very special players, that really took that speed to another level. Vince was unbelievable, and of course Willie could really run, and I think one of the years we had 5 or 6 guys with over 30 stolen bases, and that's, you don't see that much today, but you still, there's still teams out there that play good fundamental baseball like we did. And, I think if you look at the last few teams that have won the World Series, those teams have, struck out less than the other teams through the whole length of the season, So, everyone talks about the home run and the swing and miss in today's games, but the teams that are successful still put it in play. They make more contact than the other teams, and they give themselves more chances.
Tommy, I'm going to wrap it up with this. As you reflect on this, specifically your time with the Cardinals, what's your favorite moment? What stands out for Tommy Herr?
Well, I always say it's the Jack Clark home run in Game 6 of the '85 League Championship Series. It was out in L.A., and when Jack hit that 3-run home run, it was such a jolt of electricity that went through our team, because we knew that, that was the blow that got us to the World Series that year. And it was such a great year for us up and down the lineup. We had 2 20-game winners, an 18-game winner. I had my big year. Vince, broke the stolen base record that year. And it was just such a fabulous year that it would have been a shame to not get to the World Series with that team. And, that one hit, kind of got us over the hump. And it was, such a great moment in Cardinal history. It's almost one of those moments where, like, people say, where were you when Jack hit the home run? Everybody remembers it. And it was just so dramatic and so emotional, and wow, it still gives me shivers when I think about that. And I played a very small part in that inning, because I think Ozzie and Willie got on base in front of me, and so I was hitting it with nobody out and runners on first and second, and I didn't know if I should bunt him over. I was afraid to bunt him over because, then, that would leave an open base, and they were probably going to walk Jack if there was an open base. And so I ended up, kind of topping a ball down the third baseline or the first baseline. I'm not sure which one, but, I made an out, but both runners advanced. So it was just like a sacrifice bunt. We still had second and third. So Tommy Lasorda's big dilemma was, do you walk Jack to load the bases? And I think Andy Van Slyke was on deck after Jack. And I think what helped us in that whole situation was that Jack had faced Tom Niedenfuer a couple innings before and struck out on 3 pitches, just swung through 3 fastballs. And so I think Tommy felt confident in that matchup. And of course, Jack had it. He had it tuned in for that last at bat, and it was something. I can still see Pedro Guerrero throwing his glove down in left field. It was awesome. I mean, there were so many remarkable things that happened in that short half inning. Just incredible.
Again, Tommy, thanks so much. Congratulations. We'll see you in St. Louis very, very soon.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Coming up, let's take you inside the Cardinals Hall of Fame, the plaques, the jerseys, the history. The Cardinals Hall of Fame and team historian Brian Finch is up next. Scoops with Danny Mac is brought to you by Blue Tail Medical Group, Royal Banks of Missouri, Hair Saloon for Men, and Triad Bank. Welcome back to Scoops with Danny Mac on Fox 2. Now, we have heard from Larry Walker, Tommy Herr. Now let's visit with Brian Finch, and he runs the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum and is also the team historian for the club. Hey, Brian, it's great to see you. How are things going?
Hey, doing pretty well. Hanging in there like everybody else.
Tell us what you would get if you're a fan that walks through the doors of the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum.
When you come into our museum, you're going to experience the largest privately held baseball collection in the world. We have over 24,000 items or artifacts related to the history of the Cardinals or the history of baseball in St. Louis. Now, this doesn't mean that all of those items are on display at any given time, but we always have at least 1,000 items on display, which can be overwhelming at times, but a lot of fun to explore the wonderful history of the St. Louis Cardinals. When you come into our facility, it's over 8,000 square feet of baseball history. It starts at the very birth of the Cardinals franchise, and at that time, we weren't even called the Cardinals. We were the St. Louis Brown Stockings in a league known as the American Association, which no longer exists. It merged with the National League in 1892, and that's how we became a National League franchise and later became known as the St. Louis Cardinals.
I'm curious what your favorite part of the museum is. I love going in there. It's seeing the history of the club, but from your perspective, what's your favorite part?
You know, for me, while we haven't been able to have too many guests together, it's anytime we have any guests, it's seeing someone make a connection with an artifact, whether it's seeing a jersey of their favorite player from the field or a souvenir that maybe they picked up when they were at a game, or we are doing this safely even through a pandemic, but our attraction called Holding History, where fans can put on gloves. Obviously, everybody's masked right now, but getting to hold an authentic game-used bat of a Cardinals great, whether it's Stan Musial, Lou Brock, Ozzie Smith, or even some of our current Cardinals. So being able to make that connection with Cardinals history where it's personal. Something that I love about Cardinals baseball is that every fan, since we won our first franchise world championship in 1926, no fan has gotten to age 25 without having seen another World Series championship. And no other franchise can really say that. This year, we're really looking back on the 10th anniversary of that 2011 World Series championship. And in my opinion, as team historian, that is one that transcends most World Series championships. You look back to 1964 in the same way, where a team that was 10 games back in August makes this incredible run down the stretch and then has big moments in the playoffs and, of course, in the World Series. And none were bigger than what David Freese did in Game 6.
So if I look at the 2011 Cardinals team, what kind of memorabilia, artifacts would you have from that championship club?
Well, this year we're going to have a special exhibit. One of the permanent items in our collection is half of David Freese's jersey. That's normally on display here at the Cardinals Museum. But for the first time since Game 6 in the 2011 World Series, we will be reuniting the other half of his jersey here at the Cardinals Museum. It will be on display this season, and that other half belongs to the National Baseball Hall of Fame up in Cooperstown, New York. They are fortunately loaning that piece to us, and we are so excited to have both pieces. They're going to be in the same case, on the same torso together. It's going to be a lot of fun for Cardinals fans and baseball fans together. David will be loaning us his home run ball, the home run ball from Game 6, and his World Series MVP, as far as I know. We've got some other fantastic items coming in on loan, and we have a wonderful collection of items ourselves.
As the team historian, and Brian, I got about 30 seconds left, what are you most proud of with the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum?
It really is a flavor of the month. Right now we're looking at 2011, and it probably would have to be that David Freese jersey. But sometimes it spans back to Dizzy Dean in 1934, and we've got some fantastic pieces from him. Sometimes it goes back to the 26 World Series, and other times it's some of my favorite players. I was a big fan of Ozzie Smith, and we've got some cool items from his career as well. So it's hard for me to pick just one because we've got so many great pieces.
Hey, Brian, great to catch up. Thanks.
My pleasure.
For Brian Finch, Larry Walker, and Tommy Herr, I'm Dan McLaughlin. We'll see you next week on Fox 2.